Hi guys, back today with a quick project share. This is a very different angle for me, so I hope in the editing process I can get it all straightened out. So this is for a configuration box that for my partner Lisa that I joined over at Creating the Crafty Life, and it is a vintage style. So obviously we had to use dimensional embellishments. It was in a vintage theme, and I think I got it. Going through this, I really struggled trying to keep the vintage feel. I apparently over time have adopted more of a shabby chic kind of feel, and I think that's because most of my partners, they want the, they're more drawn to shabby chic, and so that's kind of the style that I've been doing. So vintage was kind of hard for me, and I don't know if this is super vintagey, but I thought it turned out really cute. So this is one of the smaller Tim Holtz boxes, and I believe it's the 6x9. And on the front, I obviously have some flowers, and these are flowers from my stash. Some of them are Wild Orchid Crafts. I think there's a couple of Recollections, and then there's 49th and Market. The green are all those. There are, I have the Tim Holtz door die, and I used a couple of his hinges. There's this little doorknob or pull, and this is from Hobby Lobby. One of the Tim Holtz little paper dolls is there, and you open it, and it's magnetized, and what I have to do still is put the swap information there. So it's backed on chipboard, and it is magnetized. On the front, for the texture and the back, I used the Finnabar's is it Art Anthology stone paste, and so I actually ended up using all of my stone paste. I used a combination of all three of them to have enough to cover the entire box. And so then I gessoed it, and then I painted over it with just some, I guess, vanilla colored paint. The side, I added some trim right here, and this is just some trim from my stash, and I'm trying not to bump the camera. So I'll bring this hand up and over, but I think it's creating a shadow. And there's that. On the back, I actually took 3 of the configuration box pieces, and I'll just back it up just a little bit. The box pieces, and I put them on top. So I just, a little addendum to the actual size of the box. I just added more flowers from my stash, just to kind of cover up this little ledge piece. I added some flat back trim. There are 2 windows on the back, and this is just cut from some wood pattern paper. And then I used the Lost Relatives, like trading cards, I think is what they are, from Tim Holtz, and put them behind, and then just a little piece of trim right here to kind of mimic some curtains. Down here, I did use the flower box for both of them, and so I just kind of embellished the flowers to kind of give it a more finished look. So that's the back. And then this is the front of my box. So on the cover, I did add some Tim Holtz ephemera, and I just inked it in walnut stain. I added a little piece of a lace doily right here to act as like a hanky. There's a gold coin with a little dangle on it, a little cameo piece, and then there is this little watch piece, but I added the compass to it, and this compass piece is actually from a Prima collection, and so I just thought that that was really pretty. Okay, let's get into the box itself. Now hopefully, let me just make sure. Okay, kind of see. I'm going to kind of try and zoom in here and there. Sorry, the lighting isn't as good, so let's actually move it. Let's see if we move it this way. There we go. Move in. So as far as vintagey goes, I did a couple of different things. I did some Christmas and some Halloween in there, since that was kind of on my mind. So this top box right here, there's a little acrylic snowflake in there. There's two little Tim Holtz deers and a couple of his metal pine cones. There's also a little wreath back there. In this little box here is a little bat piece. It's a little clay piece that my friend Christy made. There is a little brown bottle, and then there are a little cameo, little Tim Holtz skeleton cameo, 3 little pumpkins, a little piece of candy, and then one of the skull and crossbones. This box right here is, it's got a couple of Scrabble pieces in it, and let's see. Let's move in. Let's see if we can kind of zoom in there. A couple little Scrabble pieces. There's a little ladybug, a little gnome. I did add in some, just kind of a partial flower and a little resin piece. Okay, oops. Tuning once in. So moving down to this one, it's more of like a feminine box. This is a little perfume bottle that I made. There's some pearls. There's a mirror back there. Little Tim Holtz child. There's a tree piece, kind of like a family tree. Little gold heart, bird cage, and then a little bird on top. And then there's some doilies stuck in there for texture. And I'll just move the box. So moving over here is like my Christmas. It's got a Christmas tree. I added some bling to the tree, a couple of these are like plastic red bows. The little pom-pom pieces are just little fake snowballs. There's a couple presents in there, and there's a little peppermint stick in the back, and there's a jingle bell right there. Moving to this one right here. This is kind of like the cooking theme. There's some silverware in the background. There's a clock, a little cupcake, little bottle, and I was like, oh, it could be like sprinkles, little like a wine bottle, rolling pin, metal cup, and then there's this cute little mousey in there. I just thought he was just super cute in there. And I hear the hubby snoring already. Over here is kind of more like my another little Halloween. Excuse me. I have this little globe, and then there's a pumpkin. There's a little black resin flower in there. The skull on top's got a crown, and in the back there's actually a skeleton back there. I'm going to have to insert pictures so you guys can kind of see everything that I've done. And that little finger is just a glass charm that I got. I don't even know where I got it, but it was forever ago. And then we'll go ahead and back out. Okay. So in this bottom piece, there's this little, this is a little Tim Holtz ephemera piece. There's a frame, and then that little picture is from another Tim Holtz just ephemera piece. There's a button card that I glued buttons. So there were pictures of buttons on this card already, and then I glued more buttons on. There is a little bit of tape. It's a ribbon, but it is a like a tape measure ribbon. Little corset clay piece with the red Tim Holtz, and these are actually the Halloween roses. I just put that in there for some color. There's some buttons along the bottom. I have 3 spools right here, and I wrap some trim around each of them. Another little button. And then in the back is about, just another little ephemera piece. And there's that. On the front of the box, I kind of pointed out that, but I've got this little grasshopper right here, and it was a little pin, and I just took the back off. And then this is just a little dangle piece that I added there. And then little Tim Holtz band, encourage your hopes, not your fears. And I just thought that was pretty. And then on the front of all of these boxes, I just used some trim from my stash just to kind of finish it off. So you didn't see those raw open edges of the boxes. So there's that. There's the front again. I just had so much fun doing this, although I did struggle with the vintage part of it, I did have a lot of fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will make sure that I take some pictures, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.